Hi, my dearest family. So today we are going to be looking at the aspect of the week, and I have chosen the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. Now, obviously, this is a big topic. I have made a video about the Saturn-Jupiter square. I've included the Mars and Jupiter conjunction as well in that video. But today I'm going to be purely focusing on Mars and Jupiter conjunction. Of course, it is inevitable to kind of avoid the Saturn and the Venus opposition as well at the same time. And on top of that, the Mercury retrograde also. So let's get started. First of all, Mars and Jupiter conjunction is going to be happening on the 14th of August in the sign of Gemini. And Jupiter and Mars tend to meet every 2.2 years. So the last time when they met was in 2022, May 29th, in the sign of Aries. Now they are meeting in the sign of Gemini on August 14th, and the next conjunction is going to be happening in 2026, November 16th, in the sign of Leo. Straight away, what do we see here? Well, it always happens 2 signs away. But at one point, there is going to be actually a break of that. So from the masculine signs, we are going to be shifting into the feminine signs, but that's going to be happening a lot later. We are not going to be living around that time. Now, secondly, I also would like to mention that the last time Jupiter and Mars met in the sign of Gemini by a conjunction was in 1989. Previously, it happened in 1942. And the very next time it's going to be happening is in 2060. So what you see here is that obviously this is not something that happens every single day, but they tend to be meeting in one sign every 2.24 years. So which is about 2 years and 2 to 3 month time. So let's break it down. Now, as usual, I will be doing more of a personalized video for my YouTube members. I'm going to be breaking this down for the 12 signs as well. So if you are curious about how it might be affecting your own rising sign, sun sign, or moon sign, then you might want to consider joining my YouTube membership program. So Mars-Jupiter conjunction on 14th of August, and it's going to be happening on 16 degree of Gemini. Now, this is actually important from multiple points of view, but I'm going to be talking about this a little bit later in the video, because actually it is in conjunction to the Venus star point as well. And on top of that, it is in conjunction with the Uranian North Node also. But let's talk about that a little bit later on. So, what is this conjunction about? First of all, we're going to be looking at the two archetypes together. And first of all, this could pretty much talk to you about fighting for your belief system. Oh, before we do that, I would like to give you a practical advice, actually. So when you are looking at a conjunction, this conjunction is lasting up to 2 years, 2 years and a little bit, right? 2 years and 3 months. You might want to write down certain degrees for yourself. One of the degree that you might want to remember is the 16th degree of Gemini. So the important degrees, the 16th degree of Gemini, any of the mutable 16th degree. So Virgo, Sagittarius, or Pisces, and of course the Gemini degrees. I would give plus minus 2 degrees on each side. So basically from the 14th till the 18th of the mutable signs. Check if you have got any planets. But a good piece of advice, always look at the phases of the planets. So what I mean by that there is a conjunction happening somewhere. So this time around, the conjunction is going to be happening on 16th degree of Gemini. Now, when Mars and Jupiter are reaching the first quarter square, which, by the way, going to be happening in 2025 September, on the 5th of September to be precise. Now, that square is going to be happening on 18 degree of Cancer to 18 degree of Libra. And we're going to have an opposition between them two as well. And that's going to be 20 degree of Capricorn to 20 degree of 20 degree of Capricorn. Sorry, it should be 10 degree. No, it's 20 degree of Capricorn to 20 degree of Cancer. And that's going to be happening on the 10th of January, 2026. I'm going to be making some very bold predictions actually here. Because when the Russian and Ukraine war started, we had a conjunction between Sun, Mars, and Mercury. Sun and Mars was on 15 degree of Libra, and Mercury was on 18 degree of Libra. And at the time, this was one of the reasons why I believed that there would be a war happening in the world, which is going to be lasting for about 18 months minimum. Now, this Mars and Jupiter first square is going to be happening on 18 degree of Libra to 18 degree of Cancer. So this could talk to us about, obviously, with a square, that there is a tension that is building up. There is a huge frustration that is going on. So until September 2025, it really sounds like there is going to be major confrontations. And I cannot forget the fact that this conjunction is going to be, this Jupiter and Mars conjunction is going to be happening in the 7th house of US, which is very much about your enemies, your confrontations. So I think US will be part of it. So I know this sounds a little bit horrible, but I think US is going to be facing some major challenges with other countries. And then look at the 20 degree Capricorn to 20 degree of Cancer, which is going to be the opposition. And we had the Saturn-Pluto conjunction happening on 21 degree of Capricorn. We had the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction happening on 22 degree and 24 degree of Capricorn as well in 2020. So something is also going down in January 2026. So we've got a couple of years of a ride coming ahead of us. Now, I've given you these degrees because this is one of the ways how you can always read mundane charts. And whenever these degrees are getting activated for you on a personal level as well, then this is when you're going to have to make certain type of adjustments around the topics of Jupiter and Mars conjunction. So this is the reason why you should be listening to the very end of the video, because I'm going to be breaking this down for you fully. So let's get started. So it could really talk to us about being extremely motivated to express our own ideas, but also forcing our judgments onto others as well. Maybe we want to be looking at what type of advice we give to people and what type of advice we receive from people as well. Do I actually use their own advice, or am I preaching about possibly something, but actually I do the complete opposite? So one advice I would give here is to make sure that you listen to what people have got to say, but you don't need to take on everyone's advice, actually. Also, with Mars, Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, it's very easy to be loud. And it's pretty much about being louder and louder so that you can be heard, so that you can express your opinion. And sometimes the opinion could be quite exaggerated as well with this, rather than factual. Jupiter is not interested in facts, neither Mars really. But Gemini wants us to collect all the necessary information and data and to analyze those. And this is one of the reasons why this could be of a challenging position, because we might be making an irrational decision over something that we have no knowledge over. And therefore, this is kind of like trying to dig up certain type of dirt about someone so that we can use them as a, kind of like a tool, a fact against them. But we might not be looking behind the facts. It could kind of like being like someone is trying to push their ideas or opinions on you. You are forced to accept something that you might not want to or you have no knowledge over. With Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, we can have loads of ideas. And maybe that Mars wants you to cut some of them out. Some of them will not work, and some of them are going to be brilliant. So, in a way, you're going to have to, again, analyze the data and the fact to know which one is going to be blooming later on. I would call this Jupiter Mars in the sign of Gemini is like too many cocks among the chicken. Which one to follow? And we can get easily confused with this. It could be very hard to see through what is true and what not, because one says this, the other one says something complete opposite, and I don't know which way to turn anymore. And this is exactly what Saturn wants, because it's squaring the Jupiter and Mars combo. It wants you to step back, to be cool-headed, to try to delineate the facts and try to prioritize them rather than having that urge or hunger to read up on everything at the same time and then getting confused. Also, we might need to remember with this conjunction that one opinion does not fit all. What is true for you might not be the truth of others. So bear it in mind that everyone is going to be having their opinion, but when their opinion is clashing, then we might end up in certain type of arguments. And this could be one of also the negative possibilities of this Jupiter and Mars combination. Or imagine that, often because Saturn is actually squaring this. So it is okay to have your own opinion, but what has got to do with it? You've got your own opinion. What do I have got to do with this? So you have got your own opinion, and that's great, but try to leave me out of it. Now, also Mercury is actually retrograde, which is the dispositor of this Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Virgo. What I feel like with that, because Virgo on a mundane level is the sign of discrimination as well as labor and something to do with medical field, of course. So, of course, this could be bringing up the topic of some pandemics, unfortunately, in the next couple of years. And this would be something that might be affecting the lungs, for example. But just in the immediate month, I feel like discrimination might become quite a huge topic in the world, or something to do with the workforce, whether it's the work-life balance or the minimum wage, and all those type of topics seem to be quite a big topic later on. Now, with Virgo, because Mercury is there, we need to be working on something, but it's retrograde. So this is something that we have been working on for a while. Maybe we have postponed it, maybe we to put a stop to it, but it comes back on our plate. Or simply we need to edit something. We need to actually make something more functional. That piece of information, what we've got, okay, how am I going to work with that piece of information? What am I going to do with it? On a personal level, for example, we are meant to be editing our own thoughts. We are meant to be editing our opinion because Virgo is an internal communicative sign. So sometimes it is also telling us that, okay, I've got my own opinion, but it's better actually to keep it within, to keep it close to my chest, because I don't need to get into certain type of arguments, for example. It also really feels like to me that someone is going to get blocked on certain social media, and this should be a leader, a politician, or something like that. They are going to be having restricted availability on certain type of social media channels. For me, Gemini is very much about kind of like Twitter type of thing. So I'm guessing this is going to be something to do with Twitter. Also, in a positive way, though, this could really talk to you about being extremely motivated to learn something new, to pick up new skills. I feel like Gemini is pretty much of a misunderstood sign, by the way, because first of all, it's a dual sign. And the duality is coming from the fact, obviously, everyone knows that Gemini represents the twins. So this is something that got lost. My other half got lost, the lost sibling syndrome. And if you feel like that something is missing in your life, you are going to be very motivated to find that peace. So that's exactly what this Jupiter and Mars combination represents. I'm missing something and I would like to find it. This is the reason why I'm going to be studying about it. So being eager to find the meaning of living, the meaning of survival as well. Some of you might become quite depressed with this as well, which because obviously Saturn is squaring this combination, which could be the question of what is the point in living in this neighborhood, in this country? What is the point of fighting for something when we all are a big part of a loop? And that is quite a Saturnian talk here because Saturn is in the sign of Pisces, which might have got a tendency to give up. Also, do people see or hear me? Hear what I have got to say? So you might feel misunderstood, you might feel not heard, not seen, not listened to by others. And then in that case, Mars wants you to kind of cut those people out of your life. No one listens to me. No one wants to hear the truth. It can feel like that you are getting censored. You are getting silenced in a way with that Saturn in the sign of Pisces. Or at the same time, of course, it is sometimes very difficult to accept the truth as well. There is something right in front of my eye. I run into it, but I don't want to see it because that's not my own reality. So it's very important to keep it real as well at the same time. Now, remember, Venus is also part of this picture as well. Venus is squaring the Jupiter-Mars combination, and Venus is in the sign of Virgo. So whenever Venus is in your chart, we'll either like it or hate it. We value it or we are against it. So how much do I value the work I do? How much I like, for example, the system that surrounds us. And also we would like to have an ideal, a perfect world, because Virgo is about perfectionism. And maybe this is the realization that, you know what, my workplace is not perfect. My health is not perfect. My routines are not the greatest. We are not in a perfect world. So what type of changes am I going to be making? Because Mars wants to achieve something. Mars wants to talk freely. Maybe it's about trying extremely hard to be accepted by others. We might be trying hard to fix something in our life as well. And obviously, you're trying to fix the Virgo cusp of your chart, the house position of that Virgo. Maybe it's also telling us that we are extremely motivated to make a little bit more money. And maybe we are going to be simplifying that salary question, the taxation, hopefully, or just trying to, you know, in a way, having that internal dialogue that I need more money. So what can I do to do that? Also, I feel like so there is a lot of acceptance going on with this combination. I also feel like that Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Gemini In a way, it is about, you know what, studying is extremely important because I want to be seen well-read. I want to be seen as a great communicator. I want to be seen as an educated person, but I also want to use, or I want to be funny. I don't want to be serious all the time. But then Saturn is there as well. And then Saturn says, no, you need to be serious, because in this world, nothing is free of charge. We cannot just laugh when we have got all these issues around us. Jupiter and Mars wants to be quite, it wants a free speech. But Saturn feels like as soon as I say something, the words are gonna get twisted. And of course, I'm referring to social media this time around. Or, I mean, Gemini is about selling yourself as well. So, more and more people are offering services to you to do your hashtags, or what type of a title do I need to give to my video to be seen more. So for me, this Jupiter and Mars in Gemini is pretty much about aggressive marketing plans. And we might start seeing that, obviously, from businesses as well as politicians as well. Gemini represents social media, how you sell yourself, how you connect with others. Also, Jupiter is a magnifying glass, and it is classified as a benefic planet. So it could also talk to us about too many good things happening in our lives. But how am I going to be protecting those too many good things? Jupiter can represent wealth, and it can feel like that my money is somehow not safe. And I have worked extremely hard for that money. Remember, Mercury is retrograde. So this is telling us that we have returning issues, and we are trying to fix those issues. We are trying to move forward, but it's still coming back to us. Jupiter and Mars wants to go forward. It doesn't want to be dealing with the past. Unfortunately, Mercury retrograde is dragging Jupiter and Mars back and Saturn as well, to somehow stay grounded and to look at reality as well at the same time. So it's a little bit like we are meant to be sweeping on our porch before we go and start judging other people's porch, pretty much. Or it is kind of like with a Virgo Mercury, which is very much about analyzing and reflecting. With Mars, it is kind of like I'm trying to take things apart. I'm trying to see what's inside. It's a little bit like the Kinder egg or whatever it's called. And then, you have the chocolate and then you open it up, and then there are those little toys, and then you have to assemble them. And then you're going to have something coming out of it. So it is somehow finding that missing piece of information that you need to be able to dismantle or to put something together. Maybe also with Mars, which has got that power to destroy things, it's very possible to destroy our belief system as well. Or it feels like that someone is actually invading your privacy, or it feels like that you have no rights anymore. Let's say you have no rights to get visa, you have no rights to travel somewhere. So this could even talk to us about certain type of travel restrictions as well. I used to be able to go to, I don't know, Puerto Rico without passport, and all of a sudden I need passports. So there is something that we need to get used to. But positively, Jupiter and Mars is all about taking risks. It's highly motivated to win something, to be brave, to have success in certain type of fields as well. So of course we can have success on social media. We can have success by selling something, selling yourself, selling your true identity. Um, Gemini is a little bit of a comedian as well. So surely we need to be funny. We need to be having a great plan for it, pretty much. I tend to call Jupiter and Mars as the combination of willpower. The sky has no limits, basically. It makes you highly motivated to survive or highly motivated to win something. So Jupiter and Mars is very good for short distance running, for example, to attend competitions and so forth. And this is something that we will see in the political world, of course, because Saturn is involved in that picture. Right, so we will see that they are going to be throwing mud and shit on each other. And this is a bit of an alarm to me, to be honest, because rather than focusing on the facts, Mercury in Virgo also wants us to look into the mirror, to analyze ourselves, to analyze our own approach, and so forth. And Gemini wants us to analyze the facts as well. The problem is that Jupiter and Mars is just going to be loud, and throwing shit at each other. And that might be leading to certain type of conflicts. And this could be something that we might see between neighborhood countries as well. And, just thinking about, what is going on in the world, I mean, one of the things that I can be talking about is, or thinking about, is maybe something to do with Korea, obviously South and North Korea. I can imagine something going down there, or obviously we've got the Iranian situation as well on top of it. And of course, Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Gemini actually can form allies as well. Neighborhood countries coming together in a way to defeat someone who is against our own belief system. But because it's very much about fighting for independence as well. And it could feel like that, you know what, I am silenced for a very long time and then I'm enough and I want to talk up. Also, it could indicate that we want to be fighting against travel rules, for example. Or this is the aspect of bold action. This is the aspect to find ways to create prosperity in your life. Now, I mean, Jupiter magnifies, Mars is army. So I even can imagine that some of the borders are going to be filled with soldiers. Maybe it's due to immigration or migration issues. That could be a manifestation of this. This could talk to us about joining forces between neighborhood countries. Maybe because Saturn is there, right? And Saturn represents the border. So this is the reason why fighting against border control or having the police force on the border controls and so forth could be a topic that might be coming up with this. Maybe, someone is trying to force their own vision onto us. Maybe we are forcing someone to sell something to us or to make an ally with us. That's a possibility with this as well. However, hopefully, because Venus is involved in the picture, I can hardly imagine though, but I'm going to mention it. This could talk to us about the initiation of certain type of peace talk as well. On one hand, because it's Mercury retrograde, so it might have started already. Mercury is made the conjunction to Venus, right? So talks about peace. Um, but it won't be an easy one, surely. The other thing that came to my mind is that maybe the army service is going to become compulsory again. Also with the Jupiter, which is very much about confidence level too. So boosting your confidence level. It could make you feel like invincible. However, Saturn is surely telling you, Saturn Venus opposition, that you're going to have to work on your wordiness a little bit rather than, as I said, just feeling like nothing bad can happen to you because you are not protected. Maybe you are feeling extremely motivated to gain knowledge and certain type of experience. And also, Mars is the planet of sexuality as well. So this can give heightened sexuality, such as being curious about group activities in a way, because Gemini is a smaller group. And I can imagine certain type of scandals going down as well in the political world, for example. Someone caught cheating on someone, or someone caught in certain type of group activities, or even something to do with youth involved as well at the same time, unfortunately. Now, with Jupiter and Mars, we can become overly confident as well. And, the more confident you are, in a way, big-headed, then the bigger you can fall. So this is where Saturn comes into the picture. Are you trying to mask your confidence level by trying to be, in a way, showing off overconfidence? Or so it's just taking it down a notch. Also, Gemini represents rumors and gossips. So it really feels like that a major gossip is going to start spreading. And most likely, most of it are not true whatsoever. This could talk to you about religious or political convictions that many of you will be changing or needs to be looking at. With Jupiter and Mars, we can really fight for a cause that we believe in. It's kind of like fighting like a god. Jupiter and Mars in Gemini is really much about campaigning. So we will see loads of campaigning, loads of probably people being on the streets, obviously trying to raise awareness over education, travel, visa matters, border issues, public transport, voting as well. The voting might be changing quite significantly in the world. Jupiter Mars goes to the bitter end, though. It is sometimes afraid of being humiliated for something, but when it's very convicted, it goes till the very end. And if needed, I'm going to fight for it as well. It could talk to us about certain type of religious wars. It could talk to us about fighting against violence as well. And Saturn says, what's the point of responding to violence with another violent act? Because that's going to be creating another war. So cool down, step back again, and try to reason properly. Jupiter and Mars in the sign of Gemini could especially in Cancer, but even in Gemini, it could talk to us about patriotism as well. Because I have to protect my nation. I have to protect my siblings. I have to protect my own neighborhood. And so there is that heroic combination with Mars and Jupiter as well. Just think about Mars. That's the planet of soldier. And a soldier without a belief is kind of like just another body on the battlefield. So a good soldier kind of like follows someone blindly. And it really feels like with this aspect, are you following someone blindly, or are you opening up your eyes and then actually you want to see what's right ahead of you? It can give you loads of adventure in the bedroom. It could be making you very adventurous. It could talk to you about protecting your individuality. It could talk to you about that you want to be on the go, you want to travel, you want to visit places. This is a risk taker. It's kind of like playing the game of do you dare type of game, and then, what comes out of it. Also, Jupiter Mars acting on wisdom, acting wisely. And I feel like that's a major message with this Saturn square to it, though. Also, with Jupiter and Mars, you can fight for the underdog. Or it could represent that the underdog is going to actually come to certain type of victory. It can talk to us about being overly aggressive, overly competitive, And sometimes, because we are overly competitive, we can easily get injured as well. And Gemini represents the throats, the hands, for example. So those could be a little bit more on the sensitive side, or the fingers and so on. Often with Jupiter and Mars, we can get angry, for example, with a husband archetype, for example. You can be highly energetic. You might not know what to do with your energy. But this aspect is brilliant to teach kids for sports, and I would love to see a movement like that. Remember, I just created a sport channel called FitTube Golden Age, and I am not trying to give people tips on how to do fitness. It's more about trying to motivate you to be in the best shape of your life, if that's your desire, of course. This aspect is brilliant to play a bit of game as well, to stand up for your own rights. But definitely with Saturn being involved, this is about learning to respect the boundaries of others as well at the same time. Now, when you look at the Jupiter rules two signs, Pisces and Sagittarius, and Mars rules two signs also, Aries and Scorpio. Now, we've got the Pisces versus Aries combo, the Pisces versus Scorpio combo, then the Sagittarius versus Scorpio, and then the Sagittarius versus Aries. So the Sagittarius Aries would be a natural trine. So we have no issue there. We've got the Pisces Scorpio combo, which is a natural trine as well. The other two combinations, basically those two signs, Pisces Aries do not see each other, and Sagittarius Scorpio do not see each other. So what I'm trying to say here is that when we look at Aries and Pisces combo, the needs of Aries is about survival, freedom, action, and novelty. And Pisces is about being understood, being loved, unification. So this is the reason why this Jupiter and Mars combination could be a little bit more on the challenging side. Often, by the way, Mars and Jupiter is quite rebellious at school, so we can see the school kids change quite significantly. Obviously, it could be university protest, for example, and so on. Or I can imagine certain type of violence happening at a school as well that is going to make people extremely outrageous. Now, that's also possible with this combination as well. So I think pretty much, because with Jupiter and Mars, it's the freedom to act. And then we've got Saturn there, which tells us, no, you are not allowed to do that. So I'm just exposing restrictions on you. And this is kind of like a kid archetype, right? So when you do not allow me something, I'm going to go against it. So this is how it feels like. You are told not to do something, and then you go against that piece of advice, and then you just jump right into it. So we've got this, and of course, there is going to be a sense of guilt coming with this, though, because Jupiter is part of it, and Jupiter is about ethical or moral code as well. But at the same time with Mars, I want to prove that no one actually can stop me. So the learning curve here is that we are supposed to learn how to use knowledge in order to act. We have got this strong sense of right or wrong going on with this. So, guys, this is the breakdown of my Jupiter and Mars combination. So I will be, of course, breaking this down for the 12th sign as well. And I'm going to be preparing a video for you only purely focusing on Saturn Mars square as well. So you will have 5 videos And then when you put those together, you should have a very clear picture about what you might be expecting on a personal level as well as on a mundane level. So thank you, everyone, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.